Her name was Dymphna. She was a princess of Ireland, daughter of a powerful king, child of a beloved queen, raised in stone halls where banners hung heavy and candles never went out. Her father once called her his miracle. He carried her on his shoulders through the castle corridors. He promised her that no harm would ever reach her while he ruled. She believed him. But grief can change a man in ways no crown can control. And one night, in the flicker of torchlight, Princess Dymphna looked into her father's eyes and realized she was no longer safe. Centuries later, she would be known as Saint Dymphna, but first, she would have to run. You see, everything changed the day her mother died. The entire kingdom wept. Church bells rang for days. Black cloth hung from the castle walls. Even the soldiers lowered their heads in silence. But the king did not weep. He stood beside her coffin without tears, without expression, without comfort. At first, the court thought he was strong. Then they began to notice the change. He stopped attending council meetings. He stopped speaking during meals. He stopped sleeping. Servants heard footsteps echoing through the corridors, long after midnight. They heard him whispering her name. Dymphna tried to reach him. She brought him bread. She sat outside his chamber doors. She repeated the prayers her mother had taught her. God is near to the brokenhearted, but her father did not respond. Grief was turning inward, and inward grief, left untended, can become something darker. The kingdom needed stability. You must remarry, the council urged gently at first, then firmly, then urgently. An unstable king invites chaos. Finally, he agreed. But he added one condition. She must look like her. Portraits arrived from neighboring lands. Noble daughters, princesses, strategic alliances. He rejected them all. Not beautiful enough, not graceful enough, not enough like her. The court grew uneasy until one advisor, pale and trembling, dared to say what no one else would. There is only one in this kingdom who resembles the queen. Silence filled the throne room. No one needed clarification. The resemblance was undeniable. Dymphna had her mother's eyes, her mother's gentle expression, her mother's quiet beauty. The king did not argue. He only nodded. When he approached his daughter, he did not shout. He spoke softly. He told her it was necessary. For the kingdom, for peace, for continuity. You alone preserve her beauty, he said. You alone can keep what we built from collapsing. She felt the air leave the room. This was not love. This was desperation, wearing the mask of reason. She searched his face for the father she once knew. She could not find him. Inside, fear rose like a tide. But beneath the fear, something steadier remained. Her mother's voice. Obedience belongs to heaven first. She lifted her eyes. No? The word was almost a whisper, but in that hall it echoed. A king does not hear no easily. The castle changed overnight. Servants avoided her gaze. Guards lingered outside her chambers longer than before. Advisors refused to speak her name. Her father returned again and again, each visit more urgent. You misunderstand, he insisted. This is destiny. This is sacrifice. This is what must be done. But Dymphna knew something he could not see. God does not ask what violates the soul. She was not refusing out of rebellion. She was refusing out of clarity. And clarity to a broken mind feels like betrayal. When she realized persuasion would not stop him, she made her decision. She would leave, not in defiance, in survival. With the help of a trusted priest named Garibernus and a handful of loyal companions, she fled under darkness. No royal escort, no farewell, no announcement. Just quiet footsteps through the courtyard. The gates opened without ceremony. A princess stepped into exile. They crossed fields soaked in mist. They boarded a small vessel. They crossed the sea. She did not look back. They settled in the town of Gil. There were no marble halls there, no embroidered banners, no golden goblets, only simple homes, wooden doors, small chapels. For the first time in months, she slept peacefully. She served the poor. She visited the sick. She prayed openly again. The townspeople admired her gentleness. They did not know she was royalty. They only knew she radiated peace. And for a moment, she believed she was safe. But obsession hunts. When the king discovered her disappearance, his grief hardened into fury. He questioned sailors. He bribed merchants. He followed rumors like a man chasing a shadow. His mind, already fractured, narrowed to one purpose: retrieve her. Weeks passed. Then one morning, in the quiet streets of Gil, he stood before her. The father who once carried her in his arms now stood as her pursuer. He did not plead this time. He commanded, "You belong to me." The words chilled the air. She looked into his face. She saw exhaustion. She saw rage. She saw a man consumed by something he no longer controlled. But she did not see love. Again she faced the same choice: fear or faith. And again she chose faith. No. That second refusal shattered what little restraint remained. Grief had become madness. Madness became violence. In a final act of instability, he ordered her death. She was 15. 15. Not a rebel. Not a warrior. Not a political threat. A daughter. A believer. A child who would not surrender her soul. The man who once promised no storm would touch her became the storm she had to endure. And in that small town of Gil, silence fell. But this is not where her story ends, because something extraordinary began in that same town. Years passed. Families in Gil began welcoming those suffering from mental illness into their homes. Instead of isolating them, they lived beside them. Instead of fearing them, they cared for them. Instead of locking them away, they offered dignity. The town became known for compassion, and people began to whisper her name: Dymphna, the girl who lived beside a fractured mind, the girl who understood instability, the girl who chose clarity over chaos. She became known as the patron saint of mental illness, of anxiety, of emotional suffering, of families carrying burdens too heavy to explain. Her story is not loud. It is not filled with grand battles or dramatic miracles. It is something more subtle. She teaches us that love does not require surrendering truth. She teaches us that compassion does not mean accepting what destroys you. She teaches us that sometimes the most faithful word you will ever speak is no. If you have lived beside instability, if you have felt unsafe where you once felt protected, if you have had to choose peace over pressure, she understands. Saint Dymphna, gentle protector of wounded minds, pray for those who carry invisible fear. Pray for daughters who must be braver than they should have to be. Pray for families learning to replace chaos with compassion, and teach us that holiness sometimes begins with clarity. Amen.